And this is the Launch X431 Elite 2.0, which is an advanced bidirectional scan tool that can allow us to access advanced functions on a vehicle, similarly to its big brother, the Launch X431. And this tool currently supports BMW, Mercedes, Volkswagen family, Audi, Maybach, Mini, Rolls-Royce, and more. They also have a different tool that supports for GM Chrysler. And I'm pretty sure they'll come up with other versions for supporting other makes as well. So I'll put a link to those in the description down below in case you want to check those out. But with that being said, let's take a closer look at this scanner. The scanner features a 4-inch LCD screen, and this is hard plastic, but the outer portion is this bright rubber orange, which is going to be good for drop protection. Now the screen is touchscreen, however it also has buttons on the side in case we wanted to navigate the menu with them. Moving to the top, we have the power button, the connection for the obd-II cable, and the charging port using USB-C. And this is what the main menu looks like. And the first thing I want to show you is the vehicle coverage. As I mentioned earlier, this particular scanner is sold in a couple different versions. This version happens to be the one for European vehicles that include Audi, Bentley, BMW, Bugatti, Lamborghini. You also see that Maybach, Mercedes, Sprinter, Volkswagen. Now, if you happen to need other vehicle makes, such as the Ford, Chrysler, or the GM one, like I said, I put a link to those in the description down below. You'll find those makes under the American. This one, again, because it happens to be aimed towards the European vehicles, this is where they are located under the European tab, or you can also use the Show All tab to see all the makes supported by it. And this tool is going to support advanced diagnostics and basic diagnostics. Basic diagnostics are going to be done with the obd-II icon, and advanced diagnostics are going to be done with the diagnose icon. Now, if I use the auto detect function, this tool will automatically pull the VIN number from the vehicle and allow it to narrow down what make and vehicle you're working with. Now, I'm going to use the demo module that is built in onto this unit so we can take a look at what functions it has. And this module is not only great for me to be able to show you the functions of this tool, but it's also a good module to use if you wanted to practice with the scanner and understand how it works and the different functions before you actually do them on a vehicle. So when connecting to a vehicle, we're going to be given three choices: Help Report, System Scan, or System Selection. Let's take a look at Help Report. Now, on this particular test, the scanner is going to check all the systems that it supports on the vehicle and give us a summary of the results of what it found. Now, after looking at the summary, you could potentially create a report out of it. And you could also choose to share this report using the share option. And also within the summary screen, you can also choose to clear all the codes at once. And the system scan option can be used to determine what modules are present on a vehicle and what modules are supported by the tool. As you can see, we are running a scan and it's checking those different modules, confirming if it's equipped with it or not. For this particular vehicle, which will be a newer vehicle, as you can see, there's quite a bit of modules that we would have access to. And if you did not need a full help report, you can also select System Selection. And here you can select the individual system that you want to look at, and in this case we can see that this particular system, which happens to be the PCM, has several codes in here, and again we can create a report out of it or we can clear those codes. And a very helpful function of the scanner is that when you have a DTC that you are not familiar with, you can prompt the scanner to search the internet for it, and here you have a Chrome browser where you can read and see if somebody has found out the answer for you already. And while the scanner does not support sound, it does allow me to access the YouTube website, and in this case I'm looking at my own video with some captions on here, which I think is still pretty good given the price point of this scanner. And I could also just browse the internet by entering something else into the Google search bar. And also, depending on the type of system that you're accessing, you may potentially be able to stream live data from it, and I'll demonstrate that in a little bit. You also have actuation tests and special function and program. Again, this is going to vary depending on what module you are accessing, but here are some examples of some of those functions that could be accessed in this module, which happens to be the PCM. And again, going back to that module selection screen, here's where you can access those different modules and perform different functions. For example, for the immobilizer screen, we can select program key, follow the prompt, and we are able to program an additional key. And for basic diagnostics, we can use the second icon, obd-II. Now, basic diagnostics is going to be helpful for most vehicles where you don't need to access the advanced functions, but also this icon can be used for vehicles that are not included with the scanner that you got. For example, this happens to be the launch for European vehicles, but I am using it right now on a Japanese vehicle, and you can see that I am able to do the basic diagnostics using the obd-II function. In this case, we have a summary, whether the car is ready or not for smog, and which particular data streams are supported, which is a total of 71 parameters I can look at from this vehicle, and the protocol type. But now let's go inside the actual diagnostic options. First off, we can see if the vehicle is ready for emissions inspection, and it's going to be able to tell us which systems have passed the testing and which systems are still pending or not supported. And the next option, read live data, allows us to stream the different parameters that are supported by the vehicle. And I can select all and hit OK if I wanted to see those. And I'll scroll through here just so you can get an idea of the different parameters that are supported. Now, some vehicles are going to support more parameters than others. Again, this just really depends on how new the vehicle is, vehicle type, and whether it supports that particular parameter or not. The parameters can be seen as a value, but also as a graph, and I'll give it a little bit of gas so we can see that. And again, you have not only that graph, but the numeric value on the top. You could also combine multiple values if you wanted to see them on the same graph together. Let's do that for RPM and the fuel rate. And you can also use the record function to record the values for later review. You could also read freeze frame data if you had any. This vehicle does not have any store. And you can also check for any kind of pending codes. Again, this vehicle does not have any kind of codes pending. And if you had any kind of DTCs, you can turn off the check engine light with the clear fault code option. And there's a couple more features under basic diagnostics, which again works for all vehicles. And in here, we're looking at the onboard monitoring test, and we're seeing the results of each one in this particular case, showing that those are okay. But also notice that every time the scanner is connected to the vehicle, the battery is being charged, which is convenient in case I forgot to charge the scanner via the USB-C port. I know it is currently being charged by the vehicle itself. The next icon is going to be the upgrade icon, and here's where you can download updates for this scanner. Now, what's grayed out are updates that you have already received. What's in red is updates that are available. This scanner includes free updates for the lifetime of the tool. And if you wanted to add more capability to this unit, you are able to purchase additional modules using them all, where you can add additional makes that maybe were not included with this scanner in the very beginning, including for passenger vehicles, for motorcycles, and also for EV vehicles. And under settings, we can change between metric or imperial for the unit of measurements, and we can also change the brightness if desired. There are also several languages built in onto this scan tool. Here you can select a different language in case you wanted to change it from the default one. And if you were using this on a commercial environment, here's where you can enter your shop information, which is gonna show up on the records that are created by the scanner, including the reports that you can potentially issue to a potential customer. And you can also turn on the screen capture icon that allows you to take a screenshot. And under data, here you have a couple of different interesting icons. First off, the local diagnostic reports that you may have created. And you also have the record of all the vehicles that you have ever diagnosed. We also get a DTC library, which is convenient in case you had a code but you did not have access to the vehicle. Here you can enter that number and see what that DTC is for. And if you use the screenshot option, here's where you can find those screenshots. And while this is a touchscreen, the buttons on the side also do come in handy, especially if your hands are oily. You may not not want to touch the screen, so it is nice that they have these physical buttons, including a button that takes us straight to home, and also navigation and OK buttons. And as far as who I recommend this tool for, this is gonna be for somebody who does not want to spend $1,000 or more on a full-size bi-directional scan tool and who doesn't need to scan every single vehicle that's out there. If you only own a certain number of vehicles, perhaps they happen to be European, and let's say you have a BMW and a Mercedes and want to get into a bi-directional scan tool, control components, reset, and so on, then this will make a lot of sense because for a way lower entry price, you have that capability. Sure, the screen is gonna be smaller and it might not be a full wireless where you have an obd-II dongle, but again, those small compromises I think will not be a deal breaker for most people, again, because of its price point. Same thing if you happen to own a Ford or a Chevrolet. If you just want to have bi-directional control for those vehicles, this tool is going to make a lot of sense. Now, here's the part where I think it really does potentially can save you a lot of money. On the larger full-size bi-directional scan tools, sure, those can support many makes and many models in one tool. However, they are subscription-based, so what you'll find is that they'll come with a certain number of years of updates, and after those years expire, you're gonna have to pay to renew the updates. And I think on this little guy, that is his killer feature, the fact that it has lifetime free updates. So again, if you happen to own a small set of vehicles that happen to fit this particular scanner, you could potentially have the same capabilities of a large bi-directional scan tool and not have to pay for a subscription. And if you are working in a commercial environment where you have many makes of models coming into your shop, you could potentially, again because of the cost point, see that you could buy multiple of these things. You could potentially get this one for BMW, Mercedes, etc., and you could get a separate one for Ford, GM, Chevrolet. So now you have two mechanics, each one with their own scanner, so they don't have to wait for the scanner to free up, and both of the scanners can potentially save you money, again because you are not paying for the subscriptions once the updates expire. And if you do want to get a larger bi-directional scan tool with a larger screen, the wireless dongle, the ability to upgrade it with more accessories, I have reviews for those. I'll put a link to those in the description down below, as well as a link to this scanner in case you want to get one for yourself. And if you have any other questions regarding this unit, please put that in the comments down below. And if you found any part of this video helpful, make sure you hit the like button to support the channel, and stay tuned as I have a lot more scan tool reviews coming up for you guys. Thank you guys for watching, and as always, I'll see you on the next one.